Hello there, Qckslvrslash here today with another user-submitted replay. Today's is from Axis Killer 1, and they are driving their Tier 10 German cruiser, the Hindenburg. Now I myself have only made it to the Rune so far, and I've really been enjoying my time in the Rune, with the one exception that she has two of her three turrets in the back. Well, the Hindenburg fixes this, getting a second turret up front, and is a very viable ship in close. At longer ranges, she maybe doesn't do so well, but the Hindenburg is an amazing ship at preventing pushes. Because you've got some good guns, decent armor, bunch of torps, and you can mix up your settings. In this case, Axis has gone with defensive AA, a catapult fighter, and then obviously has the repairs. But you can mix things up. You could go with the Hydro and a catapult fighter. It just gives you some flexibility, and it's a ship I'm looking forward to getting into sooner or later, but right now I'm still grinding through my Neptune to get the Minotaur, because something about that line I just love, so getting these replays is rather refreshing, because I get to see some plays in other lines, because I've been a little static with what ships I'm picking and choosing right now, and I've got to change that up. But you guys are making it easier for me to just keep playing the same thing, giving me plenty of interesting replays to watch and commentate. So Axis's team goes for A right off the bat, and personally, I like going the BC line. They're a little closer together. The islands allow you to protect them. A is kind of off on its own, separated. But when you have a good push over here, you can definitely take it, and hopefully you outnumber the enemy team and can do some serious damage. But looking at what's spotted so far, it looks like a pair of destroyers on each team, at least two battleships from each team, and then, well, one cruiser spotted so far, but there's probably going to be more. So this is going to be a pretty good fist fight over at A. You can see the enemies are capping C, though I suspect what looks like one cruiser over there is probably going to get outnumbered by Axis's team, and Bravo's being capped by a friendly destroyer. So you notice Axis is using HE, and I agree with this decision. The AP on German ships is typically pretty good, but it's not as good, I find. And he's got a turret showing his side, so yes, he can use it now, but HE is a very reliable choice on these ships as well. And it's kind of knowing when to pick and choose. If you've got something nose on or well angled, the German AP just doesn't seem to penetrate quite as well. Whether that's true or not, that's just the sense I've always gotten driving them. But when you've got a fairly flat side, obviously it's going to go in no problem. And Axis is definitely making some, not quick work, but he's doing a good job knocking down some of that Tirpitz's hit points. He's already managed 23,000 damage, has slowed the cap down by just continuously hitting him, and the Tirpitz has actually been scared out of the cap, so it's just that enemy destroyer in there now, which, you know, gives his team a better chance of ensuring it's not taken. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, they've basically abandoned C, it looks like. The two battleships and cruisers have consolidated on B, and they all look to be picking on an enemy destroyer who hopefully dies pretty quickly. And look at that. Bismarck drives into an Iowa, and now they're both jammed up. You really have to be careful, particularly at these high tiers, with your driving. The number of times I see ships run into one another and cost themselves huge hit points. Like, that Iowa's been absolutely slapped. And I can guarantee you part of that's just the Iowa was pinned side on because they drove into one another. So, you know, guys, take a second, look around you, or even just look at the map before starting a big turn. Don't drive into allies. Gets a shot off at the Fletcher, but 4 overpens for really not that much damage. But everything helps, and the friendly Fletcher has kind of gone suicide, or sorry, Fubuki, not Fletcher, is kind of suiciding in there, and you hate to see that. Good dodge on the torps by Axis, and they continue to put damage onto this Fletcher. hopefully his team can kill it. They lost their Fubuki in that exchange. You'd hate to see it be all for nothing. Big hit, breaking that Fletcher's engines, and hopefully it's going to be enough. The last volley is out. Fletcher's not likely to get respotted, and 3 hits and an incapacitation doesn't finish him. One thing I will point out, though, Axis is already at 50,000 damage 5 minutes in. It's a pretty good rate considering the first minute or two there's no engagement, and that shows some of the capabilities of this ship. He's managed to take no damage himself and helped defend this cap. But things aren't looking particularly great for his team. They're down about 100 points, 2 caps. The ship deaths are even, but just not having a cap to their name right now is definitely hurting his team. You can see in chat, he's been asking the BBs to push up. He's asking for people to help, to come with him as he pushes up. He's trying to lead the charge because I think he has recognized that if he doesn't do it, no one's going to, and they'll just slowly lose this game on cap points alone. Fortunately, it looks like people are responding to his call, and Otago coming with him, and one of the battleships, with the other one having driven out behind a set of islands there. I believe that's the Iowa back there. Oh no, sorry, it's the Bismarck. The Iowa's over there. So, against one Moskva, they definitely have a chance, but that's when that Fletcher gets spotted again, and this time he is going to pay for getting sighted. 1 volley, half his hit points. Second half of the volley, 5 overpens, and the kill. 53,000 damage in. And this is when the Cyclone starts arriving. Now, I love Cyclones because you can really take advantage of them, as I've said, particularly when you're tightly grouped up. And for the most part, this is a pretty tight grouping. A couple kilometers between him and his allied ships. This Moscow's got no allies near him. At least no spotted allies. Which means when this Cyclone hits, he's going to lose supporting fire from these guys further back. And that's definitely going to cost him if he can't get out of trouble here. But he backs around the corner, giving his side, and well, it's paddling and his citadel. The Moskva's got some really strong armor, but not that strong that it's going to stop AP side on. They managed to take A. They had B for a little while there, but they're going to lose it. And with nothing else to shoot at, he picks the Otago 12 kilometers away. Not the greatest angle, but still manages the Citadel, and he's up to 85,000 damage with no signs of slowing down. The Otago continues to close, which is just going to make it easier to hit him, but only 590 hit points from that shell. But he's turning. Why would you turn and give it more of a broadside to a cruiser that has shown he can hit you? Super Shimikaze definitely gets away with one there. Hopefully Axis makes him pay for it here sooner or later. And there it is, 8,300. Citadel breaks his engine. And finally kind of gives him the smack across the face for showing his side. At a, really, to me, it's that sub 10 kilometer range. If you're in that close, you just can't afford to do that. Now what I suspect he was doing was turning to put torps in the water. And there they are. But those torps aren't really a surprise, and all Axis has to keep doing to avoid them is continue backing up. So, no issue dodging those PEDs, and his team's kind of consolidated on A. That Moskva's retreating. They've managed to get 2 of the caps. I don't know what's going on down here. I wish I could see. I actually believe this battleship is AFK, which always sucks. The torpedoes run out, and now as a group they kind of have to decide where to attack. Because the worst thing you can do in a Cyclone is split up. And unfortunately, seems to be a bit of what's happening. Axis is coming around to support the Amagi over there, but the Bismarck's just driving off to the north, and could end up facing a couple enemies alone. One thing I've also noticed of late, ever since last patch, there just seems to be spontaneous smoke generators that get hung up in the game. I don't know if anyone else has seen that, but I certainly have. Excuse me. As you guys can probably tell, I'm a little bit sick of late. I've just had knives cutting into my throat, so I hope I still sound alright. I'm trying to push through it and make sure I get a video out. And hopefully right here it illustrates, for those who haven't gotten a lot of Cyclones, just how frustrating they can be. Ship is spotted, but 3.8 kilometers between him and his ally, and Axis can't do anything to support. That's why I say you gotta stay grouped up in the Cyclones, because it would be 2-on-1. And fortunately, it is becoming 2-on-1 because that North Carolina is continuing to close. And with him forced to keep his bow to the Amagi, Axis is going to get to do some really quick, dirty damage here. He's got a side shot. There's 5,000 out of two turrets. Gets the rear ones involved as well. And now he's just going to start peppering at that North Carolina, though interestingly, he hasn't gotten a citadel. And of course, now the North Carolina is probably a little too angled to manage it. The Amagi manages to finish him off, and that's when a couple more ships get spotted. Right in behind him, and right here's, I think, a perfect example of how these torps can be used. You can push enemies off of you with them. Or if you're hiding behind an island, they can't really charge around at you because you've got incredible arcs on them, and you can almost fire them straight forward. Pair of citadels there, he finishes the Otago off, and that's when the Moskva hits within Cyclone render range. You can see Axis turning to try to dodge the citadel, but he eats a lot of damage there as 3 of his torpedoes connect with the Frederick de Groot. 5 citadels! Oh my word. That's a quick way to get damage on the board, and also gets him, I believe that was the Confederate right there that he picked up, but he's also already got high caliber, and there's plenty of hit points left on the board, and he's almost done 200,000 damage, which is very respectable in any ship. 7,000 out of that volley on the Frederick de Groot. De Grosse, Frederick the Great. And they're capping B. I suspect he's also just gonna, continue to work. The Frederick the Great doesn't really look to be paying attention to him, so he takes the risk, gets all 4 of his guns shooting, and one more volley, he should have him dead. First round's out, second set, and the kill. Next up on the hit list is this Otago, who is turning away from the Amagi, and as a result, turning his broadside to Axis, who will be more than willing to take advantage of that with a citadel. Now the Otago gets his torps off at the Amagi, which, once again, when you see someone turning that much, you know the torps are in the water, but look at that Amagi's position. He's nearly side on. I think he was trying to get all of his turrets firing, which, just a mistake to do something like that when you've got an Otago swinging his ass in front of you. Needless to say, things are looking at least positive for Axis's team. They've got 2 of the caps, the points lead, they're ahead by 1 ship, and, well, at least everyone on his team is present, unlike that one battleship who died down in the south. Now, Axis speculatively fires his torpedoes at the side of that island because why not? Ships have to drive around the island somewhere, and that's where the turrets get spotted. Torps weren't really needed. His guns were more than elite, more than enough to finish him off, and gets him his Kraken. But why stop with just a Kraken? There's still people to kill and damage to do. Clearly a DD somewhere up in that smoke. Puts it on widespread, but second guesses that. Good call, keep them narrow, make sure they don't hit the ground. And really just go chasing after that battleship. It's never a good idea to chase a destroyer when you don't have to. And it's a situation he definitely doesn't have to. Torps are out, they'll do their damage, and that's when a Bismarck gets spotted. Both are side on. Bismarck's guns don't look to be facing quite the right way. It's taken him a long time to get that volley out. And moreover, he's firing HE. My word, what a missed chance, but, well, Axis Killer is going to take advantage of that. Working on a fellow German vessel. You definitely have to be careful here. His torps are almost loaded. He puts them in the water. He anticipates the Bismarck to keep turning, which he is. And you see he never puts them in. He's waiting. A bit of a risky play, but he wants this guy dead to rights. And, well, he's gonna get it. Second volley off, gets the kill. Fortunately, the Tirpitz doesn't manage to get any torps in the water at him. He's now got 6 kills, 301,000 damage with just a Tashkent left on the board. What a great game, Axis. Thank you very much for sharing this with me. And, well, he's still going to try to kill that Tashkent. Throws out a long-range volley. They look like they're going to be off because the Tashkent turned, but hopefully they can get the kill rather than just ending up winning this by points. And as you can see from the chat, this is Axis Killer 1's highest damage game ever, and it beats out any of the ones I have. I think the highest I've managed is in the 290s, so really solid game, really illustrating how much damage this ship can do, and he's pretty much done it all. Main battery defended a cap, he's captured points, mobilized, got lots of kills, tons of citadels. Secondary hits, floods, torpedoes, fires, and a couple heroic medals. Still no sign of that Tashkent though, and, well, time is running out. Only 2 minutes 30 seconds left in this game. They're going to have all 3 cap points. But you still hope that maybe Axis can get one more kill here to round off what has already been an astounding game and just, pad his stats even more, if you want to say that. Because I don't think there's any chance of him dying here. 7 kills, no death, and an insane amount of damage, at least for me. Well played. He is detected, which means the Tashkent's somewhere out here. And will the guy make the mistake of shooting his guns? That's kind of what you always wonder when there's just a destroyer left, is, are they stupid enough to try shooting? So far, it has just been his torpedoes fired into the water, but you never know. You can see the friendly battleship's got his spotting plane in the air. They're doing everything they can to try to detect him. And if I had to guess, I'd say the Tashkent's probably almost right about where Axis Killer is looking. Not too far from where I had my mouse either. Gets spotted, 10 kilometers, the volley goes out. Will it be good enough? Shells are looking good. Oh, he gets 800 damage. Not enough, but these are quick firing guns. And he doesn't manage the kill. But either way, absolutely amazing game. 692,000 credits, 15,630 experience, tons of medals, 302,000 damage done over an insane number of shells, and just what a game. These are the ones you just play this game to have. Like 6 kills, tons of damage, the victory to top it off, because can you imagine to do all that work and then to have lost? And I know people have done that before. But luckily for Axis, his team was good and he was better and helped carry these guys to victory. 3,400 base experience. I think that is the most I've personally ever seen. I'm sure somebody's beaten that before, but that is an insane amount of base experience, and it's because of all the damage he did do. which, when you look at the damage, Axis Killer was an equal opportunity killer. He hit battleships for big damage, cruisers, he hit the destroyers. If there was an aircraft carrier, I'm sure he would have killed it as well, or at least laid a smacking down on it. And when you have a game like this, you are going to make a ton of credits regardless of the tier, and he does just that. 400 and some odd thousand credits, and just an insane amount of experience, and experience for his captain, who, by the looks of it, he's still training up slowly. So great game, Axis. Thank you very much for sending it in. I loved watching this, and just kind of always kept me on the edge of my seat, knowing the result before I watched it. Like, where's the next set of damage coming from? What's going to happen next? So thank you very much for sharing it with me. If you guys enjoyed this, consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. Or if you've got a great replay of your own, send it in to me, Qckslvrslash@gmail.com. It's in my channel description as well. I love watching the replays. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you guys later.